We begin with breaking news out of South Korea, where opposition parties have submitted a motion to impeach President Yoon Suk Yeol. Now, 6 of the country's political parties brought the motion that will reportedly be voted on in the coming days. Yoon has been under pressure to resign or face removal from office. This all comes after he abruptly imposed martial law on Tuesday night, but lifted it just hours later. Parliament has voted unanimously to reject it. Well, earlier, protesters gathered on the steps of Parliament in the capital. The head of the president's own party is calling on the defense minister and the entire cabinet to resign. Local media is reporting the president's chief of staff and several top aides are discussing whether to quit. Now, under martial law, political activities are banned and media comes under the president's control. Eunice Kim has this report from Seoul.
From crisis to celebration in a matter of hours, South Koreans poured onto the streets after President Yoon Suk Yeol backed down, reversing his decision to impose martial law.
After the National Assembly's demand to lift martial law troops have been withdrawn. I will accept the National Assembly's demand and lift martial law through a cabinet meeting.
The president had decided to call out the military just hours earlier, accusing the main opposition party of sympathizing with North Korea and anti-state activities. The sweeping restrictions included banning political activities, controlling media, and threatening arrests without warrants. Doctors on strike were ordered to return to work within 48 hours. But politicians, including those from the president's own party, fought back in a late-night emergency session of Parliament.
Citizens, please rest assured. The National Assembly will stand with the people to defend democracy.
With 190 of 300 members present, the National Assembly passed a motion to lift the martial law, the country's constitution that the president must obey. Hours later, troops withdrew from around the National Assembly. This political crisis marks one of the most severe tests of South Korea's institutions since it transitioned to democracy from military rule. For many South Koreans, the declaration stirred memories of the country's authoritarian past. The parliament is now discussing the president's impeachment.
I'm the party leader of the Democratic Party. Looking at the president's speech, I'm going to share our party's petition. Even if the president lifts the martial law, he cannot avoid being held accountable for his attempts to disrupt the government. We're now saying loud and clear that the president is not fit to serve as the leader of the country. This is the order from our country. The president has to step down.
The immediate crisis may have been averted, but the country's power struggle is far from over. Eunice Kim, Al Jazeera, Seoul.
Let's go straight to Rob McBride. He joins us now from the capital, Seoul. Rob, so we've had confirmation this morning that opposition parties have begun the process to impeach the president. What is that process going to look like?
Yeah, at the moment, there is an awful lot of number crunching going on to work out whether the opposition groups, and there are 6 main opposition parties led by the Democratic Party, have the numbers to bring about an impeachment. They need 2/3 of the seats in the National Assembly. It's not clear at this stage whether they have those seats. But the opposition parties have, over the past couple of years in opposition to Yoon Suk Yeol, been bringing various impeachment motions, lesser impeachments against some of his senior officials. In fact, it was various impeachment motions against some of the Yoon Suk Yeol's senior justices that led to this current crisis. So they have had experience at bringing these kind of motions. But you do get this extraordinary situation with less than 24 hours after Yoon Suk Yeol took the unprecedented stand of trying to bring about a martial law, having been forced to lift it within a couple of hours. He said he was going to impose this because he wasn't able to govern. Well, he is certainly now under siege with his whole political future very much in doubt.
Rob, stay with us because there is pressure on the president coming from many sides, including South Korea's largest labor union, which has called for a general strike until the president resigns. It's accused Yoon Suk Yeol of implementing an irrational and anti-democratic measure. Let's take a listen to what members have been saying.
The prosecutor should arrest President Yoon on charges of treason. The president does not have immunity against treason. There was no reason for him to impose martial law. There was no imminent threat of war. Therefore, he clearly violated the Constitution.
Last night we won. It was our victory. I speak on behalf of all the farmers. Yoon Suk Yeol's regime is even more dangerous than climate change. We cannot turn a blind eye to President Yoon any longer.
So, Rob, a lot of pressure also on the president from trade unions, which will be significant given their size, and also ordinary South Koreans who we've seen piling out onto the streets in protest.
That's right. The trade unions here do have significant strength, as we know, but this is a very highly developed civic society. There are various civil groups that have already expressed their opposition to what they see as a direct attack on the liberal constitution here in South Korea. There hasn't been a move like this imposing martial law for a number of decades. So there are people who have actively come out, and also people, of course, will remember that this is also a society that has a very well-developed culture of street protest. People do take out to the street using their right to free expression. We have seen that with previous administrations that have gone wrong. Most recently, of course, another fairly right-wing president whose term in office became embroiled in scandal. That was Park Geun-hye back in 2016, 2017. So that is the prospect that we may well see again of mass street protests, depending on how this now plays out.
OK, many thanks for that. Rob McBride there for us in Seoul.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get latest news from Al Jazeera.